Hi everybody, this is author Debra Parmley with another video for March of the Writers. This one is prompt number 5 for day 5, and the topic is Hallowed Ground, locations that inspired inspiration to hit, stories to come to you. I started out by writing historical romance, so I was already very research driven. And so locations and their history have been important. Um, for my 1920s stories, I've visited many of the places that I use as settings. The first book is set in Hot Springs at the Arlington Hotel, where Al Capone used to rent the entire fourth floor. And we stayed there and taken the baths in the same tubs and all that they used for the, you'd go to hot springs to take the baths, it's a curative thing. It's a medicinal spa-like thing. It's also a national park where you can go to an old bathhouse and take the baths just like they did. So I've done both. We've also been to Hialeah Racetrack. And so when we were in Hot Springs, I was going all around the town and visiting many places that inspired settings in that first story, Trapping the Butterfly, which is book 1 in my Butterflies Fly Free series. Book 2 starts off in Chicago at the Green Mill when rival gangsters come into a club run by one of Al's buddies and start shooting up the place. They're trying to kill Al, and the first chapter is the heroine escaping down the stairs behind the bar into the tunnel, one of many tunnels that runs throughout Chicago beneath the streets. And I've been to the Green Mill, and I've asked the bartender about the trap door, and he showed it to me. Of course, he didn't let me go down there, but it was pretty cool being able to see that and sort of bringing that scene to life. So I've had a lot of really good experiences. And for that one, I also went to the Hialeah Racetrack in Miami, which is where she later travels to by train. So with that series, I try to visit 1920s estates and places that we can still go today that were popular back then and where the wealthy would live or hang out. And that's my 1920s series. I recently went on the Lovelit Cruise, which is a really cool reader-author event that was 5 days in the Caribbean. 2 of the stops were Grand Turk and Bimini. And while on Grand Turk, sitting on a log in the shade on the beach, watching people in the water with the snorkel gear, I got the story idea and the first scene that I wanted to write. Not the first chapter, but the first scene that called to me. And I started to write that when we were back on the ship. I got the first page down, captured enough of it that I could come back to it. And so I'm working on that brand new book now, which just started during that cruise. So places do inspire me, and it can happen either way. I can write, I can research online, decide I want to see a place, but go ahead and write it and then maybe see it after the book's out, which is what happened with the Green Mill, which was a speakeasy. And you can still go there today and hear jazz, which is cool. But it can also happen that I'm in the place, being inspired, and I sit down to write soon afterward, as what happened on the cruise ship. So it can go either way. Pretty much most of my books have something in them I've either been to, seen, or researched pretty heavily. And so settings are very important to this. So hallowed ground could be anything. I worked as a travel agent, and I mean, we've been on, this is our 14th cruise, 8th cruise line. So it's a lot of cruising. Um, I have a book I set on a cruise ship aboard the Wishing Star, uh, which was the second book I wrote, second novel that I wrote. And it just continues. I guess you'd say all of the things I've experienced are things I can pull from. And we live in a motorhome full time now and travel the US. So I have a wealth of places. I probably will not live long enough to write about every single place in my fiction, but I do travel writing also. And in the travel writing, I can fit more places and experiences in than I can into a novel and share them that way. So I actually pull the places into my fiction and into my nonfiction for my travel writing, which you can find in my travel blog or on Fresh Fiction in articles that I freelance there, or in my YouTube channel, you'll find videos. So if you look around, you'll see quite a few places I've been. Uh, Thanks for listening to another March of the Writers video from me, and check out my others. I have got one for every day of the month by the end of the month. So this was the 5th one, Hallowed Ground, for day 5. Have a beautiful day.